We got shirts on sale. Express your evolution and starter Pokemon love by buying an Evolution Family shirt and Which One starter shirt. Link will be in the description below. Evil teams. The bad guys of all the main series Pokemon games. These teams play such an important role in the Pokemon games as they literally lay out the plot for all of them. In that regard, the evil teams actually are the plot. Some of these teams' aspirations and goals range from stealing Pokemon to wanting to destroy the entire world. Pokemon may be a kid's game, but my goodness does it have some crazy evil teams, especially Team Rocket and Cubone. Like, my god, that's pretty graphic. Today though, I want to give my opinions on all the evil teams and their leaders from just the main series games though. I will be mentioning Pokemon Colosseum briefly because it is close to a main series game, but I won't be talking about the individual leaders. I will only be talking about the teams alone. I can at least give them that kind of tribute. So yeah, in this video I will be giving off all my opinions on every evil team, admins, and main leaders from the main series games. My opinion may differ for a lot of these leaders. It's a 50-50 like to dislike ratio. Alrighty though. Now you know what to expect. Let's get right into talking about these teams. Team Rocket is my favorite evil team in the Pokemon franchise. I love the whole aspect of them being based off of the mob. Team Rocket just has such a vanilla and concrete goal that make them so likable. They want power and they steal Pokemon. The whole entire premise of their team is just awesome. It's typical for bad guys, but I love it. Take over the world and reign supreme sounds good to me. My favorite evil team leader is Giovanni. I really wish he could have been there in Johto, but alas, I will get over it. Someone could say Giovanni's name and people will tremble when they hear it. He just has this aura that makes him the boss. No other team leader is referred to as the boss. I know I said I was talking about the games, but the way how Jesse and James idolize him just makes him seem like such more of a prominent figure. Some say Ariana could be Silver's mother. I mean, it could make sense, they do look similar. But the most part though is that she reminds me of Jesse. A lot. I only remember fighting Proton, Heart Gold, and Soul Silver at Slowpoke's well, and he had this level 14 coughing that would give me so much trouble as a kid. As a Chikorita trainer, this was always tough. Using Meganium against Team Rocket was always so hard because they always use Poison-type Pokemon. I respect Archer a lot because of him being able to take over Team Rocket and lead them decently well. They may end up failing in Johto, but what evil team does not fail in the Pokemon series? He did his best to bring Giovanni back and had a master plan using the Lake of Rage and a bunch of other factors. It was genius, but Gold, Lyra, or Chris just screwed up his plans. He's a respectable guy wanting to keep Team Rocket's name alive. I don't like Team Magma as much as I like Team Aqua. I'm not a fan of Team Magma's goal, wanting to kill everyone and killing the Pokemon world's water supply. I will admit though, it is very different than any other team goal we have even had up to Pokemon Sun and Moon. I actually prefer Maxie over Archie. I love his glasses and auras and how there is a Megastone on it. He actually seems smarter than Archie is, and his voice in the Pokemon anime is absolutely hilarious. I'll do an impression. I'm Maxie. He comes off more maniacal than Archie does too, and I really like that in an evil team leader. I'm not sure, is Courtney a robot? The way how she talks in ORAS really comes off that way. Let me know in the comments below. I don't have a problem with Tabitha, but I just question, why is his name Tabitha? An evil team leader named Tabitha. I don't know, to me this dude's name just doesn't come off as intimidating at all. I will say though, watching Maryland's Omega Ruby Wedlock made me think he sounded like Meowth from Team Rocket with the voice he gave him. There's also obviously a really big difference between his Ruby design and Omega Ruby design. Earlier I mentioned that I like Team Aqua more than Team Magma, and the truth is, yes I do. The goal of this team was not much different than Team Magma's, rather they wanted to flood the world rather than dry it up. Say for example if I wasn't in the Pokemon world though. If I did wind up surviving, I wouldn't mind living on a nice island somewhere and living my life that way. I also really enjoy the aesthetics of Team Aqua's uniforms as well. It really fits the Team Aqua theme as it comes off as really pirate-like. The big bad musclehead Archie is one of my favorite leaders on evil teams. He's literally the captain of a pirate ship, and I love that aesthetic about him. I don't like him as much as Maxie, but I still admire him and I love what Game Freak did with Team Aqua in the original games. So, Shelly actually has two designs, one being from her original debut in Pokemon Sapphire, and the other in Alpha Sapphire. Personally, I prefer the original design more because I like the red hair and pirate-like look. Her second design takes away from the aspect that she's supposed to be a pirate. In her first design, she comes off as more intimidating versus flashy. The first design makes her look like a first mate. The pirate vibe just belongs of Team Aqua. Once again, I prefer Matt's original Pokemon Sapphire design over his ORAS one, the same exact case of Shelly. Matt really doesn't have much of a personality to me, except he comes off as loud. He's a big pirate dude, and that's pretty much all I see him as. I don't really have much of a really big opinion on this guy. Moving on to Pokemon Colosseum, we have Team Snaggin. Definitely one of the more cool evil teams, and they aren't even from a main series Pokemon game. They invented a way to take Pokemon from trainers, and the main protagonist, Wes, uses it as a weapon against them and Cypher to retake back all the Shadow Pokemon they made. That's pretty cool. One of the most unique teams in this series is easily Team Cypher from Pokemon Colosseum and XD Gale of Darkness. This team makes Shadow Pokemon, a Pokemon that is brainwashed into working for them and causing nothing but destruction. This concept for an evil team is messed up, but that's really what makes an evil team evil. We also got Shadow Lugia because of them, and I think a lot of us here can agree that Shadow Lugia is one of the coolest Pokemon designs ever created. I think this is the most evil team out of all the evil teams in main series games. Team Galactic literally wants to erase the world and create a new one. They don't even want to destroy it. They just want to erase it completely and make a brand new one. I love Team Galactic because of this. Imagine if a brand new world actually would have been created. I wonder what it would have been like. I also love the space theme of Team Galactic as well. Cyrus is such an amazing leader. He is the most bold out of all the team leaders in my opinion. He has a passion to make his dream come true, and to me he is the leader who almost made it. He was the leader who made it the second closest with nearly achieving their goal. Well, I guess he kind of achieved his goal of making a new world, but not in the way he wanted. I also love the lore with him and Rotom at the old chateau. Very interesting stuff. Mars has such a cute design, but my god is her ugly scary to fight the first time you meet her. Literally the same exact reasoning I have for Mars, except she owns a ugly, and that Pokemon was super scary to fight as well. I love how she and Mars had a double battle with you at Mount Coronet. That fight was a lot of fun. I don't really have much of an opinion on Saturn. I like his team, I guess. Team Plasma is relatively interesting. They think that trainers who capture Pokemon are corrupt and are awful, so they literally take Pokemon from trainers, thinking that liberating Pokemon from their trainers will cause justice. This team has a different motive, that's definitely for sure. I just think that taking away a Pokemon's happiness from its trainer is considered as liberating is completely silly. If a Pokemon likes its trainer enough, shouldn't they be allowed to be happy? Kinda hypocritical. Natural Harmonia Gropius, or N for short, is what I consider more as a rival than an evil team leader, but because he had such an impact on Team Plasma, that's why he's here. He was his father's puppet for Team Plasma and was manipulated the entire time. In the end, he realizes he's being manipulated and sees the error in his ways. I love how you battle against him in the legendary Pokemon opposite to yours in Pokemon Black or White, depending on which one you got. I also love the role he plays in Pokemon Black and White too. N is one of the best characters in the entire Pokemon franchise, hands down. Ghetsis is truly the evil mastermind behind Team Plasma. He manipulated and brainwashed his son N into thinking that liberating Pokemon is okay. His entire approach was to just reign supreme, having the most power that he possibly could. I think he's one of the most evil leaders in Pokemon, to be honest, just because he manipulated his own son. One of the best scientists in this series is Colrus. He has made some interesting inventions to say the least as well. Some notable ones are the DNA splicers and the Lunarizer and Solarizer from the Alola games. The DNA splicers made Kyurem Black and White and introduced the concept of Pokemon fusion. A similar phenomenon occurred in Alola with Ultra Necrozma with Lunala and Solgaleo and the Lunarizer and Solarizer. Though he doesn't show up all the time, he still plays a huge part in Team Plasma and even plays a role in Alola, which I find pretty neat. I don't really know much about Zinzalon, but at least he acknowledges his wrongdoings, where he willingly goes with Looker after he gets arrested. I will also wrap up the 7 cities on this one as well. I don't really remember much about them. All I know is that they are a part of Ghetsis' cult when it comes to brainwashing it. They get better in Black and White too though, where they actually give you useful stuff throughout your journey. For example, Rude gives you Enzora. The Shadow Triad is pretty cool. They own the Sharpline Pokemon, and I find that awesome. There are also ninjas mixed in with pirates, being in Neo Team Plasma, so that's an interesting concept as well. The ninja aspect comes from how stealthy they are, and I gotta say, it's pretty cool. I have to say that Team Flare is probably my least favorite evil team in the entire franchise. There just wasn't anything really special about them, and their goals just didn't really feel believable. They wanted to change the world and make it more beautiful, which of course means they need to end all Earth using the ultimate weapon. Seems really drastic, unnecessary, and wouldn't actually help accomplish their goals. They're just a big mess and honestly super disappointing. So I'm just gonna list all the Team Flare scientists together, as I think they're all pretty bland and just not that interesting. For the most part, they're all just kind of there, and don't do anything particularly important, and don't really benefit the plot of the team they're a part of. The small exception to this, though, is Xerosic, as he is one that actually activates the ultimate weapon and tries to continue experiments after Team Flare's demise. He's definitely more interesting in the post-game by using Emma as a test subject for creating an armored superhuman. But even in the end, once he's captured, he has a change of heart and doesn't stick to his evil ideals. I know it might sound kind of weird, but he intended to end the world at one point, but seeing Looker take care of Emma made him not want to be evil. That just doesn't happen to me. And one of the most boring evil team leaders is Lysandre. I think the most interesting thing about Lysandre is that he's related to AZ. His brother, younger brother's descendant, something like that. He's just so bland and crazy. Like, no thanks, bud. Other leaders are just as crazy, but at least their reasoning is to make a new world or dry it up rather than completely freaking destroy it. Like, that's not how you be an evil team boss. Honestly, Team Skull is one of the best evil teams there are. I put evil in quotes because they're not really the main villainous team and aren't really all that villainous at all. Now don't get me wrong, they aren't really good guys by any means. They're just a bunch of delinquents that like messing around with people because they're misfits, but the locals really aren't intimidated. In fact, they view them more as minor inconveniences than actual threats, which is actually pretty funny. I mean, this scene right here should give you a general idea of how Team Skull is. They're rapping at a bus stop sign and talking about how they want to steal it for their mansion. They're just a comedic relief, and honestly that's such a fresh take on the concept of an evil team. At the end of the Alola games, Team Skull is disbanded and they all go their own separate ways, and don't really seem to be much of a bother to the people of Alola anymore. Still a fun team. It's your boy Guzma. I love this dude. He's an actual Pokemon gangster. I love how he just has control over a gang that likes to cause ruckus for the sake of being pests. He isn't even an entirely evil guy because he actually helps you throughout the Alola games. I love how we can also go to his house on Melee Island. We get to see his old room as a child, and we get to meet his parents, which is pretty neat too. They talk about him in a variety of ways, which is actually pretty interesting as well. Plumeria is an awesome member of Team Skull. She is referred to by all the members as Big Sister. She's an awesome woman, and I admire her greatly. Here they are, the real evil team of the Alola region being the Aether Foundation. I think it was pretty obvious from trailers and whatnot that they were going to end up being evil in some way, but we really didn't know how or what their goals were until we actually played the games. Honestly, their intentions as a whole are pretty great. They built the Aether Paradise to conserve and protect Pokemon in the Alola region, and they also conducted research on the Ultra Beast to serve the threat they proposed to Alola, which again was a very positive action at first. However, behind the scenes was Lucamine's crazy obsession with Nihilego and her desire to be with it. If I butcher the name, I do apologize. Which actually led to the Ultra Beast being a larger threat to the Alola region, as well as putting her own children in a mentally abusive situation, which at a human level is probably some of the most evil actions we've seen in the series. By the end of the game, they seem to return to business as usual, doing positive things for the Alola region and the Pokemon that inhabit it. Oh, wow. Yeah, this woman's pretty crazy. She wants to literally be with Ultra Beasts. I mean, practically infuse the one as she gets taken over by one. I personally like Lucamine more in Ultra Sun and Moon rather than in Sun and Moon because she doesn't go completely fully berserk like she does in the last games. She abandons her kids and she acts more like a child than her actual children. She really is an awesome character though at the end of the game where she does go to Kanto with Lily, and I do think that is actually a really beautiful thing to see. Now, before I mention the last entry, I'm going to mention that Wick is not on this list despite being the only higher up in the Aether Foundation. The reason for her absence is because she openly opposed Lucamine's actions, supported Lily and Gladion when they ran away from their mother, and even helped out the international police when it came to fixing the issue caused by the Aether Foundation. So she clearly does not qualify for this list. So lastly, we have Faba. Honestly, this guy was the big giveaway that the Aether Foundation was up to no good behind closed doors. I mean, he just looks like a rat-faced piece of crap, like let's be real. There's not much to say about him other than he's Lucamine's right-hand man and all the other shitty stuff they were doing. In the end, he was demoted and seems to have a change of heart, but to be honest, I wouldn't trust this guy at all. If you've seen him in the anime, you'll know how conniving he is. Well, that wraps up my opinions on all the evil teams and their leaders. A lot of these evil teams and their leaders make the Pokemon games great, and I hope in the future we get more evil teams like these ones. What did you guys think though? What is your favorite evil team and leader? Let me know in the comments below, as well as what other opinion you guys want me to do next. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch where I stream a lot of Pokemon content and all kinds of other content like Nintendo, Borderlands, and much more. Want to support me further and gain cool perks? Check out my Patreon. Fly Jubilee, Daniel Leone, Lady Crimson, Pal491, The Lazy Leo, Matthew Young, Awesome Lego, and Jarrett Weez Austin. I want to thank them personally for going above and beyond. It means the world to me. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mr. Gumbrand, and I will see you in the future for more awesome Pokemon content.